All right. Today we're going to be joined by Mr. TJ Katherineberg. Did I get that right? Pronounce that correctly?
Yeah, you got it, Ralph. Thanks, man.
That was an easy one. How are you, TJ? Good morning.
Good morning to you, dude. I'm doing good. Yeah, nice day here in Parker, Colorado. How about you?
I'm in New York. It's actually pretty good. Northeast summers and fall and springs
Yeah,
are nice.
absolutely.
Winter I'm down in the Caribbean, so I avoid that one. Good. So let's start by
Yeah,
going through your background. Just how you got to where you are now. Uh,
sure. Yeah. Um, kind of grew up playing baseball actually. So played baseball until I was about 12, 13, somewhere in there. And then at one point in summer, right before my freshman year of high school, my dad started taking me out. We would play these like $5 rounds in the summers in Arizona, like 110 degrees, just boiling hot. And anyway, I just kind of figured out I had at least somewhat of a natural talent for it. Like I could kind of go out and break 100 right away. Um, and it was fun, and I just loved being out on the golf course. And um, so yeah, I kind of played a summer doing that. I got really obsessed with it really quick. Made the high school team. Played in high school. Um, Started at a junior college playing golf locally in Arizona. It's called Mesa Community College. Met some really great people there. Transferred up to a school called Chico State in Northern California. Spent a year there, and then came back down to ASU, played a little bit of golf there, club golf there to finish out collegiately. Um, but yeah, that's kind of the background in terms of like playing. And when I got out of college, I kind of did a lot of odd jobs actually. Like I started as a club builder at PXG. I'd just kind of sit in the manufacturing shop and put shit together all day.
yeah.
um, and then I was figuring out during that time that I really just wanted to be on the golf course. Like I just did not want to be away from. I just loved it too much. So um, that's when I started exploring like coaching as an option. Um, so first I went into like the assistant pro route where I would be able to teach a few lessons on the side, and um, I did that at a few different clubs, one in Arizona, one in Illinois, um, and then got hired on with Elite Golf Schools, and that was when I started teaching full time. I was there for about 2 years, and then been doing my own thing now, mainly virtually, mainly online for the past, I guess it's been about a year exactly now, about 1 year exactly. So um, that's kind of the background.
Cool. 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 Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, Arizona. I went to Arizona once, played golf there once. Uh, Getting a little static there. I don't know where that's coming from. And
Oh, it's okay.
yeah, I was getting a little static there in the background. But anyway, so I went to Arizona once, played golf. I was actually at Ping, Scottsdale, at the
Oh,
plant,
okay.
Carston Manufacturing, and that's when they rolled out the ISI line, and they flew all like the major accounts down there. And I was
Oh, okay.
and uh, so I'm standing there. It's like 100, 105, 110 degrees, and they keep bragging about this dry heat. And I'm like, yeah, well, instead of broiling, now you're baking. So Arizona, you talk to guys from Arizona, I said, but it's dry heat. Yeah, it's hot. you know?
Oh man, super hot. Yeah.
Yeah, I but yeah, it was a lot of good golf courses there, a lot to do there. So you went the assistant pro route, so you get a couple of lessons, and then you're doing all this other grunt work, really, and it's kind of like it's it's more like I've been talking to a lot of these other fellows, and they say the same thing. Like the PGA should have some kind of route where you go directly into what you're going to specialize in, right? Because
Yeah.
the way the
It would
teaching,
be nice at least, but
yeah, well, the way teaching is nowadays, it requires a lot of It's not like you know. I'm sure there's still people out there that give you like these elementary golf lessons and turn them out like that, but it just it encompasses so much knowledge and understanding of so many different things. I mean, you have to be part, you have to know a little bit of science, you have to know a little bit of, you know, kinetics, you have to know a little bit of biology, you have to know a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and
Mhm.
it comes all together, in my opinion, to be a good modern instructor. So I think
Yeah.
it's justice to those kids like yourself, those young guys that want to, eventually become teachers, that, they wind up dealing with cart fleets, retail, kids in the retail, it's not, those two things, they don't go hand in hand. So I can see where
Yeah.
you, and
Doesn't make a lot of sense, right? I mean, I was happy to do the grunt work. Just because you kind of figure like, okay, you get through the grunt work and it'll lead to somewhere else, right?
mhm,
Um, but yeah, it would definitely be really, really nice from an education perspective if you could go right into what you want to specialize in. I mean, not that you have to like start teaching right away or anything, but I would just like to learn.
sure.
Looking back when I was first started teaching lessons, I was given a lot of those elementary lessons, right? Um, I, I I basically only knew what I knew from playing. I didn't really know much of anything else. So yeah,
I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not, what you know is elementary, and what you can, because, somebody who doesn't know anything, that's at least
yeah,
something. But,
fair.
as you progress, and, it should get it's going to get more complex, right?
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just had to close my window for a second. I think it's getting
Yeah.
loud out there. So,
Problem. Okay. So you were up there with Riley at Elite Golf Schools.
yep,
You spent 2 years with him. How was that?
about 2 years. Yeah. Yeah, it was all right. I learned some pretty valuable stuff, I would say. There's a lot of education there around, I would say, biomechanics is a
Hmm.
kind of a lump term for it, which I look back on now. I'm very, very grateful to have that educational experience because I think it's one of the most important things is getting people to move better, move dynamically. And if they're not able to do that, then I don't really there's not a lot of point, in teaching them
Oh,
anything else,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, so that's been very, very useful for sure. That definitely gave me kind of a different lens of how to see things. Yeah, towards the end of it, I was just kind of seeking I was just seeking more tools in my tool chest for how to teach folks. And what I did realize was, I never really got like the what I would call like a baseline education that I really needed, which is like, I mean, just what are all the factors that can control trajectory and start line and curvature and like and like all the details, like very, very um, minute details. And I just realized I needed that. So I would I would teach some good players, and they would kind of pick up what I was laying down. But for the average player, I realized I needed something else to be able to relay to them. If they weren't able to move in the pattern I wanted them to move in, I needed something else, right? Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you walked into a stroke pattern, really.
Yeah,
You walked into the spine engine, uh,
yeah,
without getting the baseline, the basics, the fundamentals, or exactly the geometry associated with the
right.
really, the important stuff, which is the ball flight, which tells you mostly everything.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, they're doing a good job out there. So now you branch off on yourself on your own, and how was that? How was that starting out? Were you afraid, or was it something? I mean, when you make a decision like that, right?
Yeah,
Now you gotta figure it out, right?
yeah. No, honestly, pretty terrified. Like, yeah, I always knew, like just knowing myself, I kind of have a entrepreneurial solo type mindset. Like I really just like being responsible for my own thing. So, I always knew I wanted to do it on my own, but definitely terrified at first because I wasn't sure, like, you know, am I going to have enough students for the long haul to actually be able to do this on my own? And not have to get another job at some point. I really didn't want to get another job. I just want to stay in golf, right?
Right.
Um, so yeah, terrified. I have some skills that make it so I can keep new students coming in. Like I'm fairly decent at the social media stuff and
Mhm.
promoting, and um, so that's worked out pretty well. And honestly, the coaching on my own has gone better than I thought it would. It's gone really really well. And I'm retaining a lot of students, and they seem to be getting a lot better. And it's been now I really feel like this is what I want to do, kind of for like I mean forever, like
All right.
as long as I can,
So you
right?
grow up. Too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, yeah, I mean, and that's kind of well, the beauty of that and the satisfaction is, I'm an entrepreneur myself. I have businesses and stuff
yeah,
like. And yes, in the beginning, it's a little scary, and then you do what you got to do because in my case, there's no plan B. This has to work, and I'm going to make it work, and that kind of motivates you to put in that extra effort. And once you see it starts paying off, okay, now this is once you get on
mhm,
cruise control, then everything's like, oh, looking back on it, it's the best thing I ever done, right? Right.
yeah,
So,
100%.
so you leave elite golf schools, and now you move on, and now, as you said before, you were trying to find, you know, more accessories to your toolbox, right? And how'd you go about that?
Yeah. So, um, I was very interested in the golfing machine. I'm not gonna say I have like a full expertise in that at all. Like I'm still learning a lot about that.
Sure.
Um, but very, very interested in that sort of school of thought. You know, geometry based stuff, helping control the golf ball, like we were talking about, and just the variations, like possible variations. I was like super interested in being able to kind of put together a pattern based on different variables. I was interested in that for my own game because I feel like there were some things that I was trying that maybe didn't suit me. Um, and I'm obviously interested in that from a student perspective because if I can have a few more options when the student's in front of me, so I don't have to just kind of put them in one box,
Right.
then I'm going to have a lot more success. So, golfing machine was a big one, and then I kind of just tried to honestly pick apart every piece of macro Grady footage I had seen on YouTube and online, and kind of just try to like put that together. So for like, I'm very very interested in that stuff, Morad and um, the kind of potential variations there as well. I met I didn't meet. I mean, I reached out to him. Alex Moore reached out to him on Skillist, honestly for help with my own game, and he was nice enough to kind of teach me some of the basics there, right? And that that changed my own game like so dramatically, so quickly that I started getting like really intensely into it because I was like, okay, this is one of the first things that I've done since high school, college that has actually paid like immediate dividends in my golf game. Like everything else was kind of like interesting to understand, interesting to learn, but um, I just got better so fast, and I was just fell in love with the game again. So that's kind of like I just wanted to learn everything I could about those variations.
Yeah. I mean, that's cool. And, you know, first of all, golfing machine is pretty cool in the sense that, like you said, all the variations. And I think that, um, like George Ganka says, it's about matchups.
Uh-huh.
And everybody's gonna look different. Everybody's gonna do something different. Everybody, but as long as if you have this, then you can do this. You just have to apply this, and it's an RX box for uh for stroke patterns for anybody, right? So if you
Yeah,
have all those variations in that book, it basically covers everything. I mean, according to the author, it's got 10. I don't know how many Greg McCadden told me it was like quadrillion zillions. I don't remember what the number was. Potential.
potential patterns. Yeah.
So it's got to cover most everything, right?
You'd
Um,
think, yeah.
uh, and Mac is interesting in that, you know, I'm going to say that beside maybe him and Lynn Blake probably are the most knowledgeable persons about people when it
Mm,
comes to that Yellow Book. He's
sure.
he, he's pretty pretty into it. And
Hmm.
Alex Moore I've interviewed. I find him to be a deep thinker, right?
Very
Uh,
much.
he spent a lot of time with Brian Hepler at Tejada. Uh, he's a great uh, representation of that Morad brand. I don't think he's seen Mac, but he's an elite player. He thinks pretty, and he's been around. I know Hepler comes from Ben Doyle and Mac O'Grady, and so
Hmm.
he probably gleaned a lot of good stuff. And being a good player in his own right, can probably decipher a lot of that. And he seems to get it because one of the reasons I reached out to him because I hadn't been on the internet circuit for a long time, and I saw him doing the what Greg and I calls it the chip pitch. Other guys call it a 9-3, L
Okay.
to L. This
Yeah.
what you describe as this functional swing plane, waist high to waist high, which is really all that
Hmm.
matters, in my opinion. I've seen all kinds of, obviously it makes it easier if you got a good backswing, but sometimes yeah. But so I'm doing it, and I saw him doing the release variations with some guy. I don't know where they were, but I said, "Well, this guy knows what he's talking about." And he was compressing these things. Okay, let me reach out to him. That's how I came across Alex.
Nice.
I told him that. So it's you're going along really well. Now I'm watching a lot of your social media posts, and I'm really enjoying them.
Okay.
Interesting to watch your journey from afar.
Mhm.
Now one of the concepts that you mentioned is swing your own swing. Something I believe in heavily. I believe that in my case, I had a swing, and I was playing some very good golf, amateur golf, at one point in my life.
Mhm.
I I was going by Ledbetter's book, The Golf Swing, and he uses David Frost as the cartoon. The animation is David Frost.
Okay.
I thought never looked at I just felt like I was swinging like David Frost and all this stuff. I was compressing the shit out of the ball. The ball doesn't know anything but that, right?
Sure.
And I could flight it anywhere I wanted. And one day I decided I was going to videotape it. And I said, wait, that's not what I'm trying to do.
Looks nothing like David Frost, right? Yeah.
That was the end of it. That was
Okay.
the end of it. Yeah. And when I talked to John, lag pressure, John from Advanced Ball Striking, John Erickson,
Erickson. Okay. Yeah.
said he 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 went from Ben Doyle's preferred stroke pattern, and he
Mhm.
went, he goes to these All American, Fresno State, this kind of stuff. And goes on to Australia, and I'm friends with Bradley Hughes, and he says, no. Now you look at some of these Australian guys swing. They were on the Australian tour, and they had all kinds of funky actions, right?
Mhm.
But he's like looking at them, but then he's sitting there, and every time they'd hit the ball, it sounded like a howitzer went off. But he's like, wait a second,
Like
something's
a rocket. Yeah.
like, not like he was in Baghdad while they were bombing. He said,
Okay.
how are those guys doing it? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And that's kind of like. So let's talk about that a little bit. You expand a little bit on that and swinging your own swing and how you come about this.
Yeah. Well, that's like a really, really nuanced conversation and how people relate to that, right? Like, on the one hand, you've got swing your own swing is very, very true. Like you've got we all have different kind of anatomical bodies to some degree, different length body parts, different ways we move, different. We all have slight like kind of fingerprints, if you will. Um, so so in a lot of respects, like especially expert players, like trying to fit yourself into the box of somebody else generally isn't the best idea.
Right.
Um, But at the same time, like for a developing player, um, methods and methodologies and models are actually very, very useful to understand at least like where you want to be going. Um, like I'm not exactly sure how you learn how to swing or how you learn how to play without those methods.
Sure.
Um, so I look at that and I look at my own personal journey through golf, and I've been through a few different methodologies now, kind of exploring how to relate to them and how to um, play within them. And it kind of starts out like I'm going to commit to this methodology, like I'm going to commit to what the book says,
Right.
basically. What so for you, like what David Frost looked like, you're going to kind of
Right.
commit to that in your mind, right?
Sure.
Um, and you're going to see what that kind of turns out, and it'll turn out a lot of good. You'll learn a lot about yourself in your golf swing. um, and then as you get you I would say you kind of earn this right as you get deeper into the methodology. You'll start to realize what does and does not work for you. um, and when you do have those realizations, you get to kind of commit more deeply to what makes you authentically you. um, and again, I'm not sure how you really commit to that without first understanding whether or not it works for you. Like that's me at least. You know, I have such this like just appetite for learning, like really, really curious. Like when I watch your interviews with all these guys, I'm just so like wow. Like look at all the different ways that they look at things. Like it's all these little variations, and I'm curious to go learn about it and actually apply it and practice and see what's going on. Um, but you know, at some point you do have to kind of commit, especially as like a high level player. You don't really get very far trying a lot of different things every day.
Sure.
um, you kind of need to go, what do I do well? And it's not really about finding the perfect technique. You kind of just need to like keep doing the fundamental.
Right.
You need to go roll putts in the hole. You need to go hit chips and pitches. You need to go practice, and it's not that complicated at a certain level. But like I said, you need to earn that. Um, so when it comes to like swing your swing, a lot of people will just go right to swing your swing without ever trying to learn the methodology, right?
Right.
Um, and they don't. In my experience, they're limiting themselves a little bit in that respect, right? And they kind of just, if they're a 10-15 handicap, they might always be a 10-15 handicap at that moment, right? Um, but yeah, you kind of get it, right? You get the
Yeah.
nuance there. Yeah.
So, but see, I absolutely agree with you. Now, I'm going to take two guys, contemporaries,
Okay.
Greg McCadden and Mac O'Grady. So
Okay.
McCadden is model is Hogan. So
Yeah.
he took he was involved with the biomechanics early on in the 80s and stuff, and they had gotten the Shell's Wonderful World of Golf that had it's the first footage ever in 90 frames per second. So when Hogan gives that tip at the end and he talks about
Okay. Yeah.
that's the first 90 frames per second ever, they were able to model that and put it into some computer, with Sun Microsystems, I guess, or whatever it was. Where you put a card in there. And it was a big, one of
Uh-huh.
UNIVACs fit inside a room, that kind of thing. And he was able to come up with the model of what Ben Hogan was doing. I mean,
Okay.
the traces, his what do you call that? The biomechanical traces of his shoulders, all his joints, and what was going on. Yada
It's
yada.
like a 3D mapping, right? Yeah.
Mapping of
Okay.
what exactly he did.
Okay.
Top view, side views, front view. You couldn't
Cool.
underneath, and obviously measure the pressures, but he had a pretty
Sure.
good rendition for those times. Right now there's probably far more sophisticated stuff, but the point I'm trying to here is that uh, his model for himself is Hogan. Kind of looks like Hogan, but he really doesn't.
There's some differences for
There's
sure.
some differences, and you take guys that actually studied and swore by that five, five, five modern fundamentals, right? Uh, 5 lessons, right? Hogan's 5 lessons. And when you take the two guys that were actually the most successful, right? I'm talking major champions,
Mhm.
Larry Nelson and John Mahaffey, both
Okay.
major champions. And the only instruction they had was that book, according to them.
Interesting. I did not
Brilliant.
know that actually.
They're completely, there's nothing uh, visually, the geometry is not Hogan's. But I'm sure that what they're doing, in terms of the pivot and all the other stuff, they got from that book. And
Mhm.
based on their makeup or their look or their body types, their heights, their weights, that they're going to look like they look.
Yeah,
They never,
for
they never,
sure.
they never. I'm sure they never took and compared themselves on film to Hogan, or else they would have went crazy. you know,
Probably. Yeah.
it would have never been major champions for sure.
Okay.
It's, I think that that's probably one of the shortcomings of most of us is that, we're in search of that perfection, and golf is not. There's nothing perfect about golf. It's not.
Yeah, we're always kind of trying to approach it, but never quite getting there for sure. Yeah, it's really, really interesting. I didn't know that about what Nelson and what's the other guy's name you mentioned?
I'm a Happy and Larry Nelson. Larry Nelson has 2 majors.
John Mahaffey and Larry Nelson, and
Yeah.
they claim to have
Larry Nelson.
basically only studied that book.
Larry Nelson came out of the Army, came out of Vietnam.
Okay.
He's a sergeant in the Army. He just grabbed the book and went to town, won 2 majors.
Yeah, that's cool. I've heard some similar stuff about guys taking like Nicholas's book, right? And kind of teaching themselves to play off of that, right? Um, that's interesting. Yeah. I definitely think there's a little bit too much of like comparison to another body these days because all the information is out there.
Right.
Um, but at the same time, that's actually kind of helped me like understand. Like I wanted to understand the Morad model, right? Or various models and variations. So I often compare myself to max swing, so I can kind of see where I stand in relation to it. I do find that there's like again certain anatomical differences probably that I'll never quite approach, right? Um, but yeah, it's taught me a lot for sure. Like there's certain things that are just helpful to understand. Like okay, if I move my hand path here from 4 to 5 versus here, what's that going to do to the ball flight? Like, and all these little minute details have helped me understand not only my own swing, but the swings of others and guys that have worked with along the line. Right. Um, go ahead.
Yeah, that's exactly the way I think it should. I mean, you have guys on social media that look. I mean, I look at Jordan Mees, right? The kid.
Yeah.
I got looks.
Crushes it, dude.
He's more.
Really
He's
good.
more Mac than Mac.
Yeah,
It's like,
for sure. Yeah. Dude, the sound, you were talking about the sound, man. The sound coming off of that club face.
yeah, I mean,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so and that's actually should be the ultimate gauge, is
Yeah.
not so much, the dynamics. So if you look at, there's some people on there that look exactly like Hogan on somewhere in different places, geometry wise, visually,
Sure.
dynamically. Um, I'm not sure too many people can achieve the.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy was incredible in terms of
Kind of unmatched. Yeah. Dynamically, like you're saying, right?
the dynamic.
Um,
But
for sure. I get that.
yeah, but there are good, So right now you're doing your Skillist,
Yep.
and how is that going? As we said,
Skillist is going pretty well. Yeah. Especially within like the last few months, it's actually kind of taken an uptick. So that's been really nice. Yeah, I personally I love Skillist. I didn't really know much about how that worked until I actually took a lesson from Alex Moore. I took it from him on Skillist, and he put together like a whole library of content based on one lesson. It was like I was blown away actually at how much like information I was provided within a single lesson, and I was able to kind of keep going back to it over and over and over again, and anytime I needed to kind of remind myself of what I was working on, which I thought was just a way better model than like the 1 hour lesson where I don't really get to talk to the coach afterwards. I don't really get to remind myself what it was worked on, right? Um, so I think it works really, really well for people. You send in videos, and you'll be able to kind of revisit the content as much as you want or as long as you want. It's always there; it never goes away. And that's worked really well for people. So Skillist is going great. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, in your case, I've never been on Skillist, so, but
Okay.
is that just Alex that does this? In other words, I know Alex has a big mega library, so for
Yeah.
with his stuff, right? And so in your case, are you following that, or is this something that they all do? That's the question. I mean,
I definitely don't think all of them do it. Yeah, I think he definitely has a huge library. I've been like growing my library since I've started this, right? So so now I spend just some absurd time kind of like combing through YouTube and just kind of seeing what I can find, and like
sure,
um so yeah, I definitely I have a huge library of content now, and when somebody purchases a lesson and goes through that, they're going to get my demonstrations and analysis and everything like that. But they're also going to get anything that I kind of deem to be related to the content that we're talking about. So they can have perhaps a few different perspectives talking about the same idea. I think that's very, very useful because you never kind of know what's going to really resonate with the player. And sometimes having Sam Snead talk about pressure points in their grip versus me, they're going to hear Snead say something. It's going to really kind of trigger, right?
like both.
Um, and yeah, light bulb. And if you have a few different perspectives talking about the same thing, it's really, really useful. So I try to give as much content as I can, and I use that lesson I got with Alex as an inspiration all the time, honestly. Like, um,
Yeah, no. So I mean, that's what I'm. Yeah, that's where I was going. In other words, you were fortunate that you caught Alex, so
yeah,
that kind of gives you a model to say, okay, this is this. I find this, you know, appealing
useful,
to me.
extremely useful.
It's, well, let me just start this journey.
Yeah,
That's cool, man. I really, and I think you're doing a great job. From what I
I
see,
appreciate it. It
yeah,
means a lot.
I enjoy watching it. I
Yeah,
enjoy,
thanks, man.
whether I agree with it or not. It's still good stuff. It's good stuff. I'm not there. I don't
Yeah,
disagree with much. It's everything you're putting up there is pretty cool, and I think that it's appealing to a lot of the people out there. So it's
yeah.
yeah,
On that note, if you don't mind, I actually have like a question for you.
sure,
There was a post I had put out a while back on throw out action,
right.
and I watched you put out some video talking with someone else recently after that about throw
Katherineberg,
out action.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then there was a comment you had put in my post, and I actually was just kind of curious, like what your thoughts on that was, like seeing that.
Okay, okay. So the concept of a throw out action.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to hold. So, um, going back because I think I went over this with Erickson
That
is
was Erickson. Okay,
yeah.
got it.
So
Yeah.
the club only wants to fly out and up with the center of rotation, right?
Okay.
So in a swinging pattern, the only way you keep that club from going out is by accelerating it longitudinally. So in other words, it, it's what everybody else is doing. So when guys do the tugboat thing,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
talk about the not the tugboat, but the water skier or
Hmm.
like Justin Rose.
Yeah.
Keep your back close to it, right?
I get it.
Drops it
Yeah.
here, and then he shifts. At
Uh-huh.
that point, he can release, hit it as hard as he wants without coming over the top, I guess. I guess what he's trying to avoid. So the idea, the concept is that you accelerate it linearly, right?
Uh-huh.
Which some guys are calling handle dragging, I guess.
Handle drag. Okay.
You can't, you can't, you can't have it both ways, right? You can't have, you
No.
can't say that, it's all right. So if you handle drag somewhere out here, I mean, you're not really handle dragging. The club's going linearly until,
Mhm.
so in other words, okay. So there's those two types of releases. For example, a guy like Manzella
Yeah.
prefers a full sweep release. I think that's what I gather from
Mm,
Brian. And that
kind of the idea. Yeah.
is kind of a circular, so
Mhm.
it's down in an arc, and they're
Right.
gradually releasing while maintaining lag pressure. So if you look at Tom Watson,
That's a
Nick
good model
White,
for that.
Louis Oosthuizen, right?
Mhm.
It would be a circular path. So a circular path, right? You took
Okay.
somebody like Hogan, Sergio, it would be a linear towards the ball, and then a snap at the bottom.
Yeah.
It's preference, right?
Uh-huh.
So the throw out action is basically what it's, you have to be longitudinal in order to take advantage of it.
Right.
That's,
Right.
that's, you know,
Yeah.
that's,
So basically, there has to be some amount of handle drag to induce a throw out action.
yeah,
Right.
and actually, yeah, in other words, it has to be, it's, it's just a term that's been developed that it makes it kind of like, derogatory or not, not,
No, I hear that. No,
there's,
I totally hear that.
there's no,
Um,
I'm sorry. Yeah.
no. So when I, and this is my experience in kind of training some of this stuff is that idea of handle drag, right? um, doesn't always actually induce the throw out action.
Hmm.
Like, so how to get that snap at the bottom, even if you've kind of applied a lot of lag pressure and you're kind of getting it lag and coming down, right? I kind of think of, well, you were just talking about it, McCatton a little bit,
Right.
right? Um, it doesn't necessarily guarantee you're gonna induce the throw out action at the bottom. So I see a lot of people that get this idea that they're going to lag it behind them and turn and never actually get the snap going, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That
um
good. Good.
so anyway, that was kind of the inspiration for the post, right? Was like, well, look at Mac, like this, there's something happening at the bottom that is, he's going from this lagged position to a thrown out position very, very quickly, like
Yeah.
super quickly. um which I thought was interesting. Like, I actually didn't really understand that myself until I started working on something we would call like braking mechanisms,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Where I started kind of bracing my body a little to get the club head shot out.
Yeah.
Um, I was kind of stuck in. I would just leave it on the right side of my body, what felt like forever. I was hitting a lot of blocks out to the right that way. Um, so anyway, yeah,
No,
I,
that's
I I just wanted to ask you that question
but,
because
it's a very interesting conversation, but let me take it a little step further. Okay. So
okay,
Matt O'Grady, uh, he's studying the Yellow Book in some tunnel somewhere under a bridge. I don't remember what the story goes.
yeah, the whole, yeah,
Uh,
homeless thing. Yeah, okay.
he goes to somehow he winds up with Ben Doyle, right?
Okay,
And he's working on the golfing machine with Ben Doyle, and I can see where those two guys are going to clash. Okay,
sure.
Ben and Greg, and they teach passive hands.
Mm,
So if your arms are soft and your hands are soft, uh, effective pivot. You drop it in there, your hip is going to take the club through.
sure.
That's the throw action that they're teaching.
That's the idea, right? Yeah.
So the idea is to let it drop with soft hands and soft, and it worked for Bobby Clampett. So
Okay.
historically, Bobby Clampett, when he was at BYU, was like the world beater.
Yeah.
And somehow he got away from the golfing machine and went on to,
Other stuff.
and it was never like, I was on an interview with Mark O'Meara, And he was like, I can't believe that kid didn't have 5, 6, 7 majors easily.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
he
I've heard that.
got away from his roots and
Mm,
started chasing the tour gurus, and it was
makes sense.
right. So Mac and I think Mac and this is from what I've heard from people that been around the game and around that environment, had a falling out about that. And it goes, Ben, he's into like, no, you're adding, you know what I mean? It's just like, you don't want to add anything. You don't want to add any thrust anywhere.
Okay.
And so Max compressing the shit out of the ball. He said, what are you talking about? So anyway, so he had like Max pattern was that CP thing. It was the CP, what he's called CP, which is kind of like a swinger's motion with a
With a hit at the bottom. Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Hogan's 3 right hands at the bottom. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so he didn't like it, I guess, and he called Homer directly. Homer says, "No, you're with the best we got. That's Ben Doyle. I'm not having it." And Homer tried to talk him off the cliff. I guess he just jumped on a whatever, jumped on an Amtrak or hitchhiked up to Homer's house, and he was at his
See,
door day.
I heard the hitchhike up to Homer's house story. I didn't know that he had spent time with Ben Doyle first.
Yeah, he was with Doyle first, and that's
Interesting.
so. But
Very interesting.
Doyle does not want any over acceleration.
Right.
Over
I've seen
acceleration
some of the videos, right?
is the arch enemy of lag. So, and
Okay.
Max said that was a legitimate, and it turns out it is. So I mean,
Yeah.
everything's a preference.
Yeah.
So if it works, and it's going back to matchups and stuff like that. And there was a debate there where, if you saw that internet debate, which is pretty with Dr. Jeff Mann and Brian Manzel. Homer,
I may have seen it briefly.
yeah, okay. Well, when we get off the
We can talk about that later. Okay.
yeah.
All right.
But anyway, Homer never described exactly what Mac was doing.
Okay.
It's not a hybrid, but it's actually, I think, what everybody on tour does. But anyway, so they don't
Right.
describe the combination of the two, swinging and hitting.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
that's kind of what it is. That's what it seems like to me, at least, is that Mac is kind of a combo.
yeah,
Like it's yeah,
that's
which
what
is interesting.
yeah,
I always kind of I gravitated towards that idea. It's maybe makes more sense to me if everyone's doing a little bit of both instead of one or the other, right? That's what it makes sense to me, at least, like from a spectrum's perspective. Like why would I only be kind of a lead arm dominant swinger or whatever? Why wouldn't I be able to use that right hand too? But anyway, that whole rabbit hole goes like really deep.
yeah. If you start, see, because when I was talking with Erickson, right?
uh,
Erickson was the epitome of, and Erickson was with was with the machine before Mac. So he
okay,
goes back to like, I don't know, whatever, 80,
way back. Yeah.
78, 70. He was right after Bobby Clampett.
Okay.
So Clampett made that book famous, the Sports Illustrated article, and John Erickson was working with Doyle right shortly thereafter. But anyway, I lost my chain of thought. Where were we?
Uh,
We were talking about, again, when he gets to Australia, he's got this
okay.
pure swinging pattern.
Mm, okay.
Meanwhile, these guys are compressing the shit out of the ball. And he's like,
Shit. Yeah.
what's going on here? And then again, it doesn't take much to alter the natural orbit of the club. You follow me?
Mm,
So
yeah.
in order to do that pattern, you have to be relaxed. You have to do, you can't. And I see his point in that you can, under pressure, it's hard to stay relaxed. If you tense up, if you do any, you know, if your pressures shift, if your pressures change slightly as the orbit is going on, it's not gonna.
That
You have
would be kind of the enemy of the pure swinging pattern that you're
exactly,
talking about,
exactly.
right?
It's yeah.
Okay,
So it's harder
makes
to.
sense.
It's actually very effective in terms of uh, accuracy, trajectory, and all that stuff. But to try to do that and under pressure or get
Yeah,
it to repeat consistently,
yeah,
it's quite a
it'd be a challenge for
yeah. It's a
sure. I could see that.
so you have
Yeah,
to
there's definitely like it's quite difficult in the and this is for most players. It's quite difficult in the transition to avoid that urge to want to um,
yeah.
add something to the downswing sequence, right? Um, yeah, that's a really interesting conversation.
Or the
Mm.
impact interval. The
Yeah,
impact intervals. I mean, how many guys tense up right before
right before impact. Yeah,
they get through the ball? Just and they hold
interesting.
off, or and they just trying to steer it, like steer. When we
Mhm.
talk about steering and that, for the most part, when transition, impact, that's
Uh,
it's hard to. I think it's hard in
So
general.
I actually have another question kind of off of that. So Mac would demonstrate like this swing hard, stop fast, like braking type. You've
Grenade.
seen that, yeah, grenade drill, right? Where he like basically stops at impact, right? It's super impressive.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, like I actually have found that drill very, very helpful for me in terms of getting rid of the blocks that I was struggling with, right? Um, so would I be correct in assuming that that might be like a sticky point in between like Mac and Ben Doyle? Is like maybe Ben Doyle wouldn't like
So,
that?
absolutely.
Okay. That'd be where they're like, all right, yeah, all right. That makes sense.
that
Yeah.
would cause
Okay.
people to go crazy. Yeah. But Ben is Ben, and he's an icon. So is Mac, and
Yeah.
Ben helped a lot of people, and so is Mac. So
Hmm.
it's not like I love them both. I think they're both great. I think they both made great contributions to the game.
Hmm.
I think Mac were a little more, I guess, public. Um,
Yeah, it could be
but I
different,
think
huh?
he didn't get the credit it deserves because he's done.
Hmm.
I talked to way back, and I can't find the damn video, but I'm going to put the interview up. But Jim Petrolia, who's
Okay.
out in California, he's one of the guys that got in the beginning when it was McCord O'Grady
Nice.
research and development, and
Yeah.
he's the first. He put out a tape with the P system, and this was back. I want to say late '80s.
Is it
And
that old one that's like really like black and white almost? Like it's with the mountain in the background? Is it that one?
no, 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 no. I'm talking about Petrolia, not Mac.
Oh, oh.
The
Oh,
mountain in the
Petrolia
background.
did it himself.
That's a
Okay.
very that's a very famous. That's the one everybody has.
Right, right.
The mountain
Yeah.
in Palm Springs, I think, is in the
Yeah,
desert
Palm Springs,
somewhere.
yeah. Where he's
Oh,
wearing the all white. Yeah, okay.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
so
yeah.
Petrolia did one of his own?
Well, once he got X'd out,
Oh, okay.
nobody of that P system was something that people, you saw Mac, and it was kind of like this secretive,
Yeah,
you know, yeah. So
sure,
he did that
sure.
P system. He talked about it, and it wasn't revelation, but the fact that he was trying to define those points in the swing, whereas other guys would just talk about shoulder height, weight height, whatever. They talk about different heights, and it could mean anything to anybody. So
Hmm.
he just kind of micro quantify those positions along the arc,
Right.
made it easier to instruct and explain.
It's very helpful for the coach-student relationship to have just that terminology, right? Um, just so that a student can go, hey, like it kind of feels a little off here, 2 to 4, right, as they finish their backswing, and we know exactly what that means,
Right.
right?
They said
A
2.5
student,
or 3 point,
yeah,
somewhere in there. Yeah, okay, so
yeah.
yeah,
Like now we can kind of like have a good conversation, yeah. So that's very helpful.
especially if you're doing something on Skillist, right? Where you're not there physically with the
100%.
student, you can, uh, you know, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So is there anything else you'd like to add while we're here? Good.
What were you saying?
Is there anything you'd like to add while we're still on here? I
Um, no, I think that that was good. Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
no, thanks for coming on. I really enjoyed the conversation, and I'm looking forward to more of your continued success, your climbing, and swimming really well. And
Yeah.
we'll check back in again.
Okay. That sounds
Whatever you
great, man.
come back on, you got some, we'll talk some more. I enjoy it. That's my thing.
Yeah. It's my thing too, man. I love talking. So, okay. I appreciate it, man.
Excellent. Uh,